Senate Leader Mitch McConnell refusing to take responsibility for his failures to deliver significant legislative victories. McConnell instead shamelessly trying to shift blame to President Trump. Listen to him at an event in a Kentucky Rotary Club. Rotary, you should be ashamed of this fella.
Our new president had, of course, not been in this line of work before, and I think had excessive expectations about how quickly things happen in the democratic process. And so part of the reason I think people feel like we're underperforming is because too many kind of artificial deadlines unrelated to the reality of the complexity of legislating may not have been fully understood.
Can you believe what he said, what you heard there? He is blaming the President of the United States for expecting the United States Senate and Congress to pass a budget, tax reform, to repeal Obamacare, which they promised for 7 years, and he calls those unrealistic expectations. That's what we got in the swamp, folks. Joining me now to talk about all of that and much more is the dean himself. He served in 3 presidential administrations, chief political advisor to the House Republican leadership, none other than Ed Rollins. Ed, can you believe that son of a gun?
I thought it was pretty outrageous. The standards that are being set there are his standards, his legislative standards. The bottom line, every year that Congress is supposed to pass a fiscal budget. It's due by October 1st. They are nowhere near to doing that. They have to raise a debt ceiling every year. They're nowhere near to doing that. We've talked about tax reform for a period of time. They're nowhere near to doing that. And Obamacare was a promise that he and his fellow members made for 7 years. And so at the end of the day, it's not like President Trump walked in and said, here's my agenda. His agenda happens to be mostly the agenda that they had and they haven't done. So I think it's pretty outrageous, and he better look in the mirror and examine his own. As I said to you on this show, he was a fairly good defensive person of stopping things. He certainly isn't very good on the offense.
He isn't worth a doggone at anything that I can see, and to act and to say what he said. I mean, that's just pure nonsense. Here's the slogan of the evening here. Can we put this up? Ditch Mitch, right over your right shoulder there, Ed. What do you think of the slogan?
Well, I think to a certain extent it's time for change, and that's as good a one as any. And certainly there's several other members of the 52 that can step forward. I don't want to name any here at this point in time, but there's several that can. I think he's tired, and I think his leadership is tired.
He's tired. He's absolutely delusional. He is sold out for so long to the establishment. This is exactly the persona that most voters, I think, had in their heads when they walked into voting booths and delivered to President Trump 306 electoral votes to become president of the United States. Anti-status quo, anti-establishment. The people who have been forgotten by their leaders, and Mitch McConnell hasn't forgotten them. He hasn't even seen them in a decade or two.
Well, equally as important, President Trump did not run on a brand new agenda in the sense that he ran on the agenda these guys have talked about. We're going to fix health care. We're going to create an immigration policy with a wall as the basic. We're going to do taxes on a restructuring. All of those are things Republicans have been talking about for a long time. It's not like he came in with a whole brand new agenda. It was just that's all. The one thing that was keeping you from having your agenda was President Obama. He's not here anymore. Send me the stuff, I'll sign it.
Yeah, I would probably argue with you just a bit that this was, in fact, the Trump agenda. No question, repeal Obamacare is that of the Republican Party for 6.5 years, 7 years. There's no question that it should be pro forma. To create a budget, they haven't had one for 20 years. That's how gutless the members of both political parties, folks, are. We haven't had a budget. And these people call themselves legislators.
And that's their responsibility. And that's first and foremost their responsibility. To know how much you're going to spend, how you get the resources. And as you say, they haven't had one. Of the 12 appropriations bills, they've passed 4. So that means they've got 8 more to go before they even, and I don't even think they will. I think they'll basically do what they always do, create a little mini omnibus bill and shove it through if they can. But I think the American public needs to look hard and fast at this kind of leadership, and I think that's what Trump's.
There's one person